I'm back anyway. I don't know if you're back, but I am. It's Loki, season 2, episode 2. It has audio description on Disney Plus, and there's gonna be some spoilers here. So it's not. I'm not here to just give spoilers, but I'm here to talk about the plot and like what happened. Is it good? Do we like it? And yeah. So chaos is still happening around as we kind of left off. I thought the ending to the first episode was kind of abrupt, and we kind of pick back up, and chaos is still kind of happening, and everybody's running around trying to do things. They did notice that one of their hunters has decided to go live his best life and become a film actor named Brad. So Loki and Mobius go after Brad, realizing that he might know where Sophie is, which is what they're Sylvia is, which is exactly what they're trying to find, is to try and find Sylvia. And because she hasn't been seen since last she jump kicked Loki through a time portal. Yeah, so they go find Brad, and after much of a hullabaloo, they're able to capture Brad and bring him home. And they put him in a cell, and Brad's like, I'm not telling you anything. And they go back and forth on this good cop, bad cop thing, and they're trying to work Brad, and they're trying to get the information. I'm like, Brad, we need to know. Brad, what do we got going on here? And Brad is he's a little ballsy with Loki. He's gonna push Loki a little bit. Should he push Loki? I don't know. Loki is willing to he's willing to do whatever to try to get this information out of Brad. But still, you get the idea that this Loki has changed a lot, because he doesn't ever go to the dark place where, his former villain self would go. He's definitely made a change, and he likes where he is now. It's funny how they have a conversation in this episode about basically the plot of the first Avengers, where he's talking about how he understands, behavior, because he, one time he was really upset with his parents, so he like flew to Earth and threw Iron Man off the roof of a building, and tried to take over Earth and throw Iron Man off the roof of the building. And anyway, it was just kind of funny how casually he brings, like, how he wraps up the whole plot of the first film from his perspective. And he's just like, yeah, this is what happened. Yeah, I just had a fight with my father and my brother, and I was just really angry at them, and I just, I was seeking attention, and I just went to her. It's just like, really? That's the first film? That's the grand secret to the first film, is that if your dad had loved you just a little bit more, you wouldn't have gone and attacked Earth. Okay. So yeah, he interestingly, he has that connection, but Mobius also has a conversation with Brad, because Brad's like, are you telling me you don't want to know who you are? And Mobius is like, no, this is where I am. This is, I want to thank whoever pulled me from the other timelines, because I feel like this is what I was always born to do. I think it's a really interesting choice, because either he's just saying it to placate Brad and Loki, or he really believes it, or he really sees what is happening and realizes, at least now in this moment, even though people think, that this agency is bullshit and is the problem, they kind of are necessary, because they actually have to kind of fix everything and get it situated before they can leave. You know, um, they still have an inordinate amount of power over other timelines, and they can't just walk away. It's not something they can just be like, well, our job sucks, let's all walk out, guys. uh, so they kind of have to stay there and fix it before they can leave. And I think that's something that Sylvia doesn't quite understand. Eventually they find her working at McDonald's. She is living her best life by serving up realness in the forms of McDonald's apple pies to customers somewhere in some timeline. And the guys show up, and they've got Brad is with them, and they're in a timeline, and they've managed to get the information about where she is. But Brad he's a little nervous. Why is he a little nervous? Oh, because he knows that the bad guys, the ones who decided not to let people be, have decided to blow up all of the other timelines, all of the other branches. So, and he's currently in a branch, not in the main timeline. So he's worried about being blown up. So they all get up out of there, and they go back, and they stop. They try to stop as many timelines from being destroyed as possible, but they still think about the billions of lives lost because some of their own faction decided to blow them up, and didn't listen to the concept of these are people with lives. You know, this is what was really happening from, you know, man at the end of the universe. This is what he was really up to. And they just decided, you know what? Let's kill them all. Let's just blow them up. It's all about protecting the one timeline. We don't need these other timelines. I don't even know what's on them. And I was thinking, with multiverses and everything, I was like, who do they just kill off? You know, like, how does this affect the greater MCU in terms of blowing things up? Like, what got blown up and what didn't? But they didn't blow them all up. So some of them are there, so we can always say, well, some of these other characters we met in other timelines, they're still there. Their timeline is safe. Tobey Maguire's alive somewhere. You know, so he's out there somewhere. Anyway, it's basically, that's the episode. They need to reboot Mrs. Minutes. And they need to get Mrs. Minutes back. That seems to be the final thing that they decide on. Obi is, he's trying to, like, describe in his nerdiest way possible as to why the system that he designed needs Mrs. Minutes to come in and hack something open so that he can get through and fix everything. But the only person who can do it is Miss Minutes, because the other person who can do it no longer exists. So they have to now convince a rogue AI to return to her job. So we'll see in the next episode, or at somewhere in the season. I'm sure we'll see Miss Minutes. But that was basically what happened in this episode in a nutshell. And I liked it. I thought it was pretty well described. I thought the McDonald's part was kind of hilarious. I was like, this is what Sylvie chose to do. She literally just put herself in a McDonald's. Like, she could have gone anywhere. Could have done anything. The one dude is like a movie star. You know, like, Brad is, when he goes down, he's like, I'm going to star in some movies. And then Sylvia goes in and she's like, you know what? I just want a chill life. I just want something simple. I'm just going to go work at McDonald's. And so she just goes and works at McDonald's. It's very, very contrasting. One person needs, you know, the red carpet, and the other person just likes to show up for a shift and have lunch breaks, and then go home. I don't even know if she goes home. Does she have a home in this timeline, or does she just go to her truck She has a truck. So good for her. Anyway, yeah, I like this episode. Audio description wise, I think probably the best sequence was describing the force field that keeps shrinking Brad when Loki's essentially torturing him. We'll call it torture. It's essentially torture. He's shrinking him inside the confines of a force field, making Brad feel like if he doesn't say something, that he's going to essentially lose all of his available space. That worked out pretty well. It wasn't as crazy as the last episode where Loki was like jumping in and out of timelines, so and like stretching and stuff like that. So there wasn't any bizarre moments that required, I would say, strenuous audio description so that we could understand what was going on. Probably the most strenuous thing that needed the most description was probably the force field stuff. The rest of it, there's a couple moments where Loki plays, shadow games by creating, holograms of himself and screwing with Brad. But other than that, it's fairly cut and paste, cut, dry, paste, cut, paste, dry, cut and paste. Whatever that phrase is. I have no idea. But I do know that I like Loki. I love Loki. I think this is probably the best example of why some of these shows deserve a second season. Loki is absolutely holding up, if not getting better. And I'm giving Loki season 2, episode 2 an A. So tell me how you feel about Loki in the comments. And don't forget to click like and subscribe. And I will be back next week with another episode of Loki. Until then, I will see you guys on the other side.